Okay, everybody, this is Truck Stop Mixtape, and right now I have the very, very, very cool independent artist in Ivy in the house. Hello there.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. Now, do you prefer for me to refer to you as Amanda or as in Ivy?
You can refer to me as Amanda. And Ivy's like the project name.
Okay, good, good, good. Don't want any confusion. Thank you for being here. I wanted to talk to you because you have a new single, a new release that's coming out soon, and a big release party. But why don't we start at the beginning and talk about how In Ivy came to fruition?
Yeah. Yes. So in Ivy started, I had graduated college. I went to college in Boston and I went to music school. And the whole time I was just really nervous to play any of my own songs for anyone. Um, so I graduated, finally met some people I was comfortable with, started showing my songs to some friends. And then in about, I want to say 2015, I started writing more, started doing some demos here and there. And the guy, a friend of mine, his name was Bradley Robertson. He's a really great mixing engineer. He introduced me to a guitar player at the time. His name was Bradford Beard, really awesome guitarist, like an amazing guitar player. And then we started playing together, and slowly, little by little, all of our friends just kind of started joining the band. So we started playing around the Boston and Cambridge areas. And then eventually we got ready to put an album out. We recorded it live. All the basics were recorded live in the studio in Boston. And we crowdfunded for that year because we wanted to go on tour. So we did a successful Indiegogo campaign. And in 2018, we launched that first album called Aphrodite. And
Mhm.
it's like the thing I'm the most proud of in my life. I love that album. I love all the songs on it. And we went on a little tour in the Midwest and the East Coast and Canada. So we did like a little loop back to Boston.
Nice.
Yeah, it was the most fun I ever had, like a 2-week period. The band is actually called In Ivy, though. I love telling people this because my best friend, her name is Ivona, and when she introduces herself to people, she just calls herself Ivy because it's faster than, like when she gives her coffee order at Starbucks or something, she just goes by Ivy. She doesn't want to spell her name. So she's like the only friend who wasn't really a musician at the time. She was going to school for pre-med. Um, but like we wanted to include her. She was always there. Like, she was like always there in the room with us.
Yeah.
And listening and being the biggest fan. So we kind of named the band after her. Fun little fact. Yeah, so we went on tour. Eventually the players left the band and it was just me and Davis Coleman, who is the drummer. He's the percussionist. Uh, and then eventually we recorded basics for a second album in
This is
Boston.
all still in Boston. What's the scene like at this time? I mean, I know it's not that long ago, but
Yeah, I really miss it. I didn't realize how nice it was. And I don't know if that it's just post-COVID California. And, we're in Ventura, so it's a little slower
yeah,
than LA. I really miss the live music scene in Boston. At the time, I didn't think it was that great, but looking back, it really was. It's a bit of a jazz scene out there, like a jazz fusion scene, but there's like a
yeah.
really cool little kind of indie rock, alt rock scene. And I made a lot of friends in that, and everyone went to each other's shows. We all supported each other. It was really wonderful. Lots of little tiny venues that you could book a show at, and it's not pay to play. I mean,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are some places like we played the Hard Rock Cafe once, and it was like 50 pre-sale tickets, and of course we sold like 20. So we
yeah.
didn't make any money. But yeah, it was a really nice little scene, a nice supportive, comfortable little scene that I got really comfortable with. I knew the bookers, I could book shows, I could put shows together really easily. So now coming here, we moved here during COVID, and it was really slow to get started because we didn't know anyone. Davis, the drummer, he grew up in San Pedro, and his
Okay.
dad lives here now. That's why we moved to Ventura. So his none of his friends even live up here. So it took a while.
What was the choice for Ventura? What made you go to Ventura?
His dad and his stepmom live
Oh,
down the road from us, and we during COVID, both of us were doing like freelance musician stuff. I was a music therapist and teaching some voice lessons, and he was teaching drum lessons and just doing freelance drum gigs. And we lost a bunch of work during COVID, and we both knew we wanted to move out to the West Coast eventually. And he was kind of like, one day he was just like, do you want to just do it now? I mean, why not? There's nothing keeping us here. The music scene's dead right now. Let's just go now. So we did it. We drove across the country in his Toyota Highlander with my cat and during COVID, and we got here. And yeah, now we're here.
Let's talk a little bit about your music, because Aphrodite was your first album. How long before that were you writing songs? I mean, have you always been writing songs, or is it something that kind of popped up when you went to music school? Or
No, I started writing songs when just a little bit after I got my first guitar. I begged my parents for a guitar when I was in grade school because the boy whose locker was next to me played guitar and I liked him. And, for a while, my parents, they just didn't want to because I tried piano when I was younger and I didn't like it. And they were kind of like, oh, guitar's for boys, they just weren't sure. But they heard me sing in like the Christmas play. I was the angel. And they were like, oh my gosh, she's actually good. We'll get her a guitar.
Awesome.
So I got that guitar. I like learned all the Taylor Swift songs. I was obsessed. Then I kind of just started writing my own songs, and none of them were good. I would never show anyone the songs I wrote in high school. But I did get into college by playing one of them for my audition. That's how I got into Berkeley, which was kind of cool. But I got more serious about it in college. Kind of like, when you're in that, because you're a songwriter too.
Yeah.
When you're in that period of songwriting where you're just kind of copying other people and you're not really sure of what your own voice is. You're just trying things out. So none of it really fit. And it didn't happen until like maybe the last year of college, 2016, 2017, when I kind of started writing stuff that I'm like, wow, I like this. I don't know if other people will like it, but I definitely like it. And it's the kind of thing that I want to listen to.
And you mentioned Taylor Swift. What were other influences for you? I mean, because I know you from, I've listened to the songs from Aphrodite and the second album as well. Here and there parts, songs, not the entire album. And for me, your music is almost deceiving in a way, because I feel like the initial presentation, there's a lot of emotion and but there's an urgency that kind of lurks underneath your music that almost is of a music that I would associate that's a lot angrier or a lot more kind of like punchier. And you kind of manage a balance where you don't cross the line, but damn, you're like, it's just like,
Yeah.
like you feel like that's how I feel like from especially your last few singles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting way to put it. I think a lot of my favorite music when I was like young and like in high school was like emo. Emo music, like My Chemical Romance and
Oh yeah.
Dashboard Confessional and Fallout and Panic and all that stuff. And I think that's where a lot of the angsty. Also, like I love late 90s, early 2000s, like Alanis Morissette,
Okay.
and just
Yeah.
really angsty. Like this is only a recent love of mine, but it's similar to a lot of other things I like. I love Hole. I got really into Hole a couple of years ago. I know everyone hates her, but I love that kind of just like angry, angsty music. And I think it probably says a lot about my mental health when I wrote some songs. It's just, yeah, you're just getting the things out of you that you've been urgently trying to get out of you. Yeah, but my other influences, especially that first album, I don't know if you've ever heard of the artist Laura Marling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's probably one of my biggest influences as a guitar player, and a songwriter because I fell in love with her when I was in college, and I really just I wanted so badly to.
Amanda, I hate to stop you. If you don't mind, let's pick it up again from Laura Marling,
Sure.
because the way that this the stream program that I use, I can only do 10 minutes at a time.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
So
Where was I then? Where should I pick it up?
uh, I'll I'll uh, I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, the whole influence is obvious, but what are other ones?
Yeah, so Laura Marling, she's like really dear to me. I fell in love with her music, specifically her album. It's called Once I Was an Eagle. I fell in love with that in college and I really connected with it. And I really desperately wanted to, I mean, I learned how to play all of her songs and they were all in open tunings for the most part on that album. And that's really what inspired me to play in open tunings. I had dabbled with it a little before, trying to learn like dashboard confessional songs in high school. And that was back when I didn't really understand guitar that well.
Yeah.
I could play open chords at the top of the neck, but I would try to tune to these weird tunings and break a string. I didn't understand like about setting up a guitar and string tension and stuff. And I didn't really have that great of an ear for tuning at the time, so I dropped it. Came back to it later in college and just kind of fell in love with playing in open tunings. And then I started listening to Joni Mitchell a bunch because she does that as well. And I
Yes.
actually almost got kicked out of college because I torrented her entire discography and they found out and they threatened to kick me out if I didn't delete it off my computer. um, just torrenting was a thing.
That's a
Yeah,
great story.
I was mortified because I was such a good kid for the most part. Um, I was like, "Oh my god, my parents are gonna kill me if I get kicked out of Berkeley." Yeah, so I think Laura Marling, Joni Mitchell is like a huge influence. And then like a little bit later, I got into people like Nick Drake. Um, yeah,
You're getting darker and weirder as you go.
darker and weirder. Yeah,
Yeah, Nick Drake is definitely a thing. Let's talk about your upcoming single. And is it a single or is it an EP?
it's two singles actually.
Beautiful.
Um, so we have a lot of music that we're ready to record as a full album, but it's expensive to record a full album.
Oh
And
yeah.
the first time we crowdfunded, and the second time I paid for everything out of pocket, and we had a lot of friends give us really great friend discounts. But it took me a really long time to pay it off. So we decided this time to just take it slow and go single by single. And I don't want to sit on these songs because I think they're good, and specifically the one, I go out and I play it and people always ask, where can I listen to it? So I figured we'll just get it out there and it might take us another year or so to finish the full album, but eventually they will be part of a full length album.
Yeah, we need an NIV live album.
A live album. That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be super cool.
Maybe we record some of those high school tunes.
No. 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 One time I actually remember I was in high school and I had this little notebook, that I had like drawn doodles all over the cover and stuff. And it's songs about me. It was really cute. And I had written most of the songs I wrote were about this one boy that I was like in love with.
Same
And
guitar boy?
what's that?
Same guitar boy?
No,
Locker boy?
no, different boy. Locker boy. No, Locker boy was a different boy. This is a different guy. And he was kind of an ass. He came over my house. And he saw it lying on my bedside table and he like snatched it. And I was like, no, I really don't want you to look at that. And he opened it and I just pressed my face in my pillow. I was probably so red and he was reading this song about him and it was so embarrassing and bad. And no one will ever, he's probably the only person who's ever read that.
Oh no. That's horrible. But beautiful at the same time. I think you'll have to leave that for the biography. The two singles you're releasing, you're having a big party at Naughty Pine, and you said March 4th, right?
That's right.
what can we expect that day besides these two songs? It'll be a
So
big celebration.
yeah, the whole thing's starting at 6. I don't know yet for sure, but usually there's a food truck there. So I'll update when we find out about that. But we're gonna have a lot of friends there. Our guitar player, Kevin Pont, he's great. And he writes his own music. So he's gonna be one of the openers just with his own set. And I'm really excited to hear it. And our drummer's actually playing drums for him. So we're doing a little
Family
exchange.
affair.
Yeah, family affair, very incestuous. Um, and then we have this really, I don't know if you ever heard of Tyler Indigo. He's based
No.
in Ventura.
Okay.
He's really cool. One of the very first times I ever went out to play anything in Ventura, I saw him at there is this studio in Ventura called Birch Studios. This guy named Aaron Birch runs it. And he has, I don't know if he still does it, but he was doing like once a month, having like local people come and doing like a songwriter collaborative.
Cool.
And I think that's where I met Tyler. And he played a bunch of like really cool original surf rock-esque tunes, really nice, like cool poppy stuff. So I asked him, he's going to play and open for us as well. I think I might try to find another opener to do a few songs like a friend or something, but I'm not sure yet.
So it sounds like a crazy night. March 4th in Naughty Pine.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one more question before we go, and
Mhm.
it's more of a songwriting question. If you can tell me, where are you right now as a songwriter? I know we spoke a little bit about the the songwriter who was born in high school and all that, and the person who created a lot of music in Boston. Where are you mentally and spiritually now as a songwriter in Ventura, about to release these two songs? And you said that you have a lot of new music ready to go. I just think about the, we're post COVID, uh, and the music industry is so crazy and weird and whatever. Like, how does all that affect you um,
Yeah.
creatively?
Well, I've never really just like been a kind of songwriter who's like, I'm going to write 10 minutes a day every day because I need to write hits and stuff. I write songs because I need to process my own emotions and feelings. And sometimes you just kind of feel inspired to do it. And that's kind of the way I handle it, because anytime I've tried to write something, it's just never feels organic. It never feels really good. Um, I don't know, maybe that's a cop out, but it's worked for me so far. And it's given me enough material that I can work with. I have plenty of songs, and I don't feel the need to sit down and force myself to write more because it's happening at a good pace for the way my life is going. I have been thinking recently, because my personal life there's just been a lot of changes for me this past year. And I've been thinking in the back of my head, man, I really need to actually take some time to sit down, because I have all of these scraps of songs that I'm ready to sit down and write. And sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and like have a dream about a song and like, oh, I got to write that down. And then I write it down and I haven't come back to it because I don't have the unstructured free time that I used to have. So I do plan on like taking time to sit down and work with the ideas that I have a desire to work with. And so hopefully I'll write a bunch of new stuff. And sometimes my drummer Davis, he actually on the last album and some of the new songs we've written, he's had a hand in a lot of them. One that we've been playing out, he wrote primarily. I just kind of helped. So I'm looking forward to kind of collaborating with people more, writing more with other people. And even I have some friends who are rappers now, and I kind of want to like write some hooks for them. Maybe I think that would be a really cool next step. That's a little bit out of my comfort zone.
That's beautiful.
Can I say one more thing before we go?
Yes, of course.
Because I think it's kind of important to say. So one of the songs that we're releasing, one of them's "Money in Time," which is like our hit. It's the
So
one
that's the
everyone.
one that people always ask about.
Yeah. The other one's called "Sunday Afternoon," and I wrote it, I think, in 2018. I was going through a lot of stuff, and I think it's the most personal and like raw, I guess, thing I've ever written. And I never really intended on playing it live ever because it's very personal. And I feel like I'm going to cry, honestly, when I sing it. And it's kind of painful to sing. but it's meaningful for me and I want to release it. So I think the release show is probably the only time I will ever sing it. So if you want to hear it, you want to hear it live, you should come because that's the only time you'll hear it. I really don't think I'm ever going to sing it again live.
Well, Amanda just guaranteed that I'm going to be there
Yeah.
recording that song
Yeah.
that'll never ever be played again.
So,
And I'll be on by the stage going, Sunday afternoon, please, Sunday
yeah.
afternoon.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe doing it might break the idea of not being able to do it again.
Maybe, I say I'm never going to play it again. If enough people really, really like that song and we get a bunch of listens and then people are like begging me to play it, I'll play it. It's just, yeah, it's personal.
I don't even want to ask you about it because I want to hear it first.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, it would be kind of stupid to get that. Well, this is what it's about.
Yeah, you can ask me about it after if you have questions. It's not like, I feel like a lot of the songs I write, it's not like, there's not like a very specific story necessarily.
Yeah.
You might be like, I kind of get what it's about, but not really. It's more of like an emotional undertone is usually what I'm going for.
Thank you so much, Amanda. In Ivy, 2 single release party at Naughty Pines. Do you know the address of Naughty Pines? It's in Westlake Village.
I'll look it up right now.
It's in Westlake Village. You don't want to miss it. There's going to be a bunch of performers as well. An incestual affair, but it's going to be awesome and beautiful. And you're going to hear Amanda perform these songs, and one in particular for the first and last time. Or is it the last time?
First and last time.
First and last time. Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon, money and time. In Ivy. Amanda, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Please.
By the way, 766 Lakefield Road, Thousand Oaks.
Perfect. I'll be there. Bye-bye. Be good.